6. 6 months ago, Cosmas began his lucid dreaming routine, mentally moving backwards through his day before drifting off to sleep and doing the same when waking, journaling the narratives that wound their way through his semi-conscious mind, words and sentences initially, working in reverse to lasting memories by way of endless rooms and happenings, streams of cats leaping over beds, pudding in his shoes because of rain pitter-pattering on a tin roof, marketing meetings for cologne made for grizzly bears by grizzly bears, the kinds of things that resonate in a sleepy brain and feel confusing in the clear light of day. He learned to become self-aware by way of reminders, triggers, words he couldn't read, time slowing down, unexpected visits from distant relatives, and the like. "I am awake," he repeated to himself. Weeks went by and he found himself writing copiously, pages of associations between things that didn't connect, banana-powered toasters, guitars that tried to eat his fingers, episodes that clung to a particular brand of logic, the kind of emotional satisfaction that comes from a corrupt oligarch being fed to wild boars. He taught himself to pull back, to realize wild boars seem a bit unlikely, the kind of thing to be erased with a thought and replaced with portals to the holidays of his childhood or champagne parties sponsored by chesty models. Fountains of eggnog flown in from Milan met with applause from throngs of psychedelic cranberry smugglers serving as a front for a secret telekinesis program sanctioned to improve the safety of the Grand Canyon's guided tours. That kind of thing. It was only when these situations took on a contrived feel, his uncle slicing a pork roast at the end of a table extending to infinity, a pudding salesman leaning from a taxi to solicit romantic affections, that Cosmas found himself seated across from his grandmother at a glass table set into a bicycle rim. She poured oolong tea from a white teapot, one fist at the handle, the other holding the lid, an amber waterfall into porcelain cups on mahogany coasters. "Bring me up to speed," she said. "I've been assigned to home care for the Order of Lethe." "I see. And Constance and Caesar and Ada?" She raised a napkin to her upper lip and leaned back in her wicker chair. The vibrancy of the room stood out in contrast to nightmare Tentacle Beast sequences or co-opted Venus Cloud City summer camp memories. She was, as she had been, an older woman wearing an Angora sweater over a tan blouse, the same short, gray hair and arching eyebrows she'd had when Cosmas was small, her peepers twinkling, a ruddy aura, crow's feet that came because she refused the serums that kept everyone in peak condition, a body aging gracefully with the warmth of autumn leaves, the kind of moment that immediately cemented itself as lasting, not a dream, something other than a dream, an experience shared. Red lipstick, modest, smoky eyeshadow. "Don't tell me you've lost touch again," she said. "Having to reinvent ourselves appears to be the price of living," Cosmas said. His grandmother, Claire, he remembered, unfolded her napkin, setting it on her lap before smoothing her skirt. "What's it worth if everyone you ever loved becomes strangers?" she asked. "Some might argue that we need to let go." "Some might." "Nobody dies anymore, Grandma. Not of natural causes, at least." Dust floated on sunbeams that streamed from the window above the kitchen sink, a window framed by blue curtains, and Claire raised her teacup, blowing, sipping. "You seem to remember me well enough," she said. "We've always been on the same wavelength," Cosmas said. "True. You've let yourself enjoy your birthday driving, I hope." "I stopped being upper crust a long time ago." The smell of vinegar permeated the house. She cleaned with it and used newspaper strips instead of kitty litter in the pan on the bathroom floor. "Nonsense. You're quite handsome, you know. Smart as a whip." Claire slid a plate of windmill cookies across the table. "Take as many as you like," she said. I'm not hungry. Watching your girlish figure? Cosmas shrugged and plucked one from the dish. They're good with tea, Claire said. The orders had me going to Dr. Petenwell to help decompress. Good shrinks are hard to find. Agreed. The room reclined, folding, the table sliding sideways down into the floor that fell away into familiar flannel sheets. Alan's a good egg. Try not to forget that, Claire said. Cosmas found himself in his bed, pushing up to sitting despite a muscle twinge in his lower back. Disorienting, jarring, to be awake before sunrise in the quiet of his apartment, the early morning hours hung like a pause, a held breath, laminated wood flooring curving up into the kitchen island, the stovetop percolator waiting for coffee grounds. He picked up his dream journal from the end table and slid the pen from its elastic band. With a click, he began to write.